Health and Safety Committee for March 20th. Let me see. We have roll call. Charles Whiting is not here tonight, celebrating an anniversary. Good for Charles. With that, here we have Commissioner Skull and myself. For township staff, we have Chief Block from the police, Chief Glassman from fire, and Ken Davidson from the 2nd Alarmers and Rescue Squad, and Township Manager Matt Candlin, and Sean Kilkenny from Kilkenny Law. I think I got them all. Okay, any presentations? Nothing. Okay, approval of the minutes. I'm good. Okay. Any changes from the public? No? Okay. We'll move them into the record. Accept and approval of following reports. Chief Block, would you give the police report?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, President McFatridge. It's a pleasure to provide the February 2023 monthly police report for the police department. In the month of February 2023, the police department responded to 1,150 calls for service. That brings the total calls for service year to date at the end of the month at 2,532 calls. We did see a 1% decrease in call volume when comparing February of 2022 with February of 2023. Our outlying year-to-date call volume in February of 2022, year-to-date was 2,402 calls. February of 2021 was 2,169 calls. And February of 2020 was 2,474 calls. The overall difference between February of 2020 and February of 2023 is a 3% increase total in our volumes. The following Part 1 crimes were reported and investigated by the police department in February. There was 1 aggravated assault, which was cleared by an arrest, 3 robberies with 2 cleared by an arrest, 40 theft offenses with 24 cleared by an arrest. Our Part 2 crimes for February 2023, there were 2 disorderly conduct offenses, 3 public intoxication offenses, both cleared by an arrest, 6 narcotics investigations with 5 of those cleared by an arrest, and 20 other crimes that were cleared by an arrest. Patrol Division conducted the following proactive measures. There were 34 vehicle investigations, 37 hazardous traffic violations issued, 55 non-hazardous traffic violations issued, 2 parking citations issued, 6 homeless contacts, and 17 DUI investigations, 1 between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., and 16 between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. Our traffic unit conducted the following activities. There were 16 calls for service, 3 traffic and parking investigations, 54 traffic stops, 44 warnings were issued, 7 hazardous moving citations issued, 8 non-hazardous moving citations issued, and 276 bus patrol citations issued for the month of February. Our Detective Bureau opened the following new cases in February of 2023. There was 1 theft investigation, 1 juvenile disturbance investigation, 1 juvenile sexual assault investigation, 1 death investigation, 1 invasion of privacy, sex extortion investigation, 2 robbery investigations, 4 child abuse allegations, and 4 police candidate background investigations. The detectives also served 1 robbery warrant, and that was related to the robbery that happened on the 27th of February on York Road just before 7 a.m. If you recall, I briefed the committee and the board last month. Within 24 hours of that crime occurring, the Detective Bureau had taken the 1 individual with the assistance of patrol into custody, and we cleared that arrest. Overview for Part 1 crime statistics. Burglaries investigated in 2023. We've had 6 burglaries year to date with 2 clearances. 2022, for the same time period, there was 1 burglary. 2021, there were 0 burglaries year to date. And 2021 burglary year to date. Our robbery offenses for 2023, there's been 5 robbery offenses thus far with 4 clearances. 1 robbery offense reported by clearance for 2022, 3 robberies in 2021, and 3 robberies with all cleared by an arrest in 2020. All robberies that have not been cleared remain under investigation by our Detective Bureau. A couple of highlights we had for the month of February. 7 members of the Upper Moreland Township Police Department attended the written examination for the position of sergeant. Currently, there's 1 vacancy for the position of police sergeant. There was an oral interview that took place on March 6th, and that list has been established by the Civil Service Commission and certified, and will be moving forward later this month on the promotion list. On the 23rd of February, myself, Detective Bolden, and Officer Waltermead attended the viewing of fallen Temple Police Sergeant Chris Fitzgerald, who was killed in the line of duty on February 28th after he suffered several gunshot wounds while attempting to apprehend a robbery suspect. And on the 24th of February, Upper Moreland police officers and Upper Moreland Fire Department assisted with an escort for a Marine veteran on his 100th birthday. We gave him an escort from his residence to the VFW on Moreland Road. And also on the February 6th through 10th, the Upper Moreland police officers, command staff, and community representative administered an interview panel for police candidates. A total of 15 candidates were interviewed for the position of patrol officer. The results of the interview process have been forwarded to the Civil Service Commission for the certification of the eligibility list, as we have one vacancy within the police department, and we have request and reason to believe that I'll be filled in April of 2023. Two announcements from the police department is, one is we've started a traffic forum. If individuals have traffic issues within the township, we ask you to contact our traffic unit. The first forum started this evening. It was held in the finance conference room between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. and that's open to any township resident that has concerns about that. And again, it's just opening up more lines of communication with our residents to see what those issues are. The second announcement is that we are going to start our first Citizens Police Academy. We're in the process of scheduling dates. I don't have the dates firmed up yet, but it will be sometime in mid-April to the end of May. And as soon as we have those dates confirmed, we will publish them on our Crime Watch as well as the township website. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Just in here, you had a couple of Mrs. Is it Zuloff and Shirley Lytle? Did you want to mention those?
Yes, there were several letters. We received commendatory letters. The one was Mr. Hirschberg and his daughter, Margaret Zuloff, contacted us regarding Officer Nusky, who had responded to their residence on the 5th of February for a medical emergency. Their one-year-old daughter was suffering from a seizure. Mr. Hirschberg and his daughter, Mrs. Zuloff, expressed their appreciation for Officer Nusky's quick response to the residents. They further related that he was very professional. He provided them a ride to the hospital while the daughter was transported down to the hospital, and he remained with them, providing them support until they got the good news that her daughter would be recovering from the seizure. So they were very appreciative of that, and as a result of that, I received numerous phone calls from both the grandfather and the mom regarding that. We also had another email and a phone call that I received from a Desiree Palmer who lives in Philadelphia. She wanted to commend Officer Baldwin for assisting her when her vehicle ran out of fuel on Moreland Road back on February 3rd. It was a Friday evening. She had contacted her husband to come out, and the vehicle wasn't running. Officer Baldwin remained with her. Her husband arrived. They were out of gas. Officer Baldwin continued to stay with the vehicle with her daughter, and her granddaughter, while her husband went to get gas, and he even, as she noted, provided hand warmers. Officer Baldwin did, because it was one of the evenings that was very cold out. So she was very appreciative of what Officer Baldwin did, and she stated he went above and beyond what a police officer does, and she's very, very complimentary of the Upper Moreland Police Department.
And just so I just wanted the public to know, we feel a lot of appreciation from the public to the police department, and that's why I like for us to read some of it and let you know how much they do. It's not just chasing bad guys. Sometimes it's helping families that are in need at the time, and taking the extra steps to make it as best as it can be when you're in trouble. And they get, besides the ones you read, there are multiple ones in here for other things. I appreciate, and I'm sure they do, the recognition when they're doing a good job in your crisis. And that's what they know they're there for, but it's nice when they get recognized for it, because it's stress on the police department as far as each individual when these things happen. And yet they walk away and go right to the next job, even though they're so polite there. This is ongoing. And in today's world, even around here, everything's escalating, shootings, everything around here. And I just feel so proud of our police department. I believe they do a very, very good job, as well as fire and EMS in our township with a lot of these letters. So I just want to say thank you to those departments for what they take care of in crisis situations and do it so professional, because you always hear the bad ones around the country. There's always one somewhere, it seems like, that mess it up for all the other ones that are doing a good job. So thank you to those departments. Mr. Scull, anything you'd like to, on that report?
No, I would say, I don't ever remember getting a bad complaint from the public about our police or fire.
Anybody from the public like to say anything on this?
Just have a question real quick. What is the Citizens Police Academy?
So the Citizens Police Academy is a program that the police department establishes, and it's open to our township residents. It's usually a 6-week program. It's one night a week, and each night there's a theme. And basically, we explain to the residents what we do as a police department and as police officers. So one night it'll be about patrol, one night about traffic safety, one night about our detective bureau and CID, one night about our canine program, our SWAT program, things of that nature. So there's a lecture that goes on during the evening, and then usually we have a little practical afterwards that the residents will participate in. So it does a couple of things. It gives detailed information to our residents on what we do and on our training. And there's a great exchange there, because some residents come into it very skeptical, and we want those residents there to show us that we're not all law and order. We're about community-oriented policing as well, and some of the other aspects of the police department. And we also learn from our residents, because it opens up those lines of communication, which are extremely important. So we're very excited about this program.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that sounds much better than what I had in my head.
Yes, we're not training people to go out and be police officers.
So we don't need that, but would you put together, that sounds great. So
Right.
awesome, looking forward to it.
Ben Olszewski, Ward 2, Shirley Road. Just want to echo Commissioner McFatridge and Spearing's comments. Thank you guys for what you do. I made a Facebook post about it, but I would like to come in person to express my gratitude for all you guys do for the community. And it's important to have a good relationship between the citizens and the police. So I think that's a great idea with the citizens program and the traffic program you guys just implemented. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
I just wanted a quick clarification. Did you say something about a traffic meeting thing?
Yes, we're starting a traffic forum, and tonight was the first night for it, so there'll be more information. It'll happen on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Well, I was going to bring this up later, but I forwarded an email to you yesterday from Miss Patty Marks. I don't know if she's here. Very concerned about speeding on Moreland Road,
Yes,
and I wanted to bring it to your attention.
yes, and I'm going to assign the traffic safety unit to go out and do a speed study on Moreland Road, so we'll have that information. We should have it report back to the committee for next month.
Great.
Okay. Next, the Fire Department, Chief Glassman.
Thank you, President McFatridge. It's my pleasure to present the February 2023 report to the committee. There is a total of 53 fire calls, 19 EMS calls, total 72 for the month. The year-to-date is 140. Fire permit inspections, 14. Fees collected, $2,055, $2,355. The yearly total is $3,580. No fire marshal investigations, no injuries to civilians or firefighters. One significant incident on the 13th at 460 Easton Road, Horsham, was a working fire. We also had firefighter Andy Girth retire. Last Friday was his last day after 25 and a half years of service. That was on the 17th. He will be recognized at the upcoming commissioners meeting. Also, it's not on this report because it just happened the other day, and I'm still working with Chief Davidson and Chief Block. We had what appears to be at this point a CPR save at Miller's Ale House within the past couple days. So as long as she gets discharged from the hospital and we have a positive outcome, we'll follow through with that. We'll be looking to make an appointment. We're going to conduct interviews for firefighters. We have candidates that the police department did backgrounds on. We're going to do interviews this Thursday and hopefully have a candidate to move forward. We attended 4 community-oriented events with 28 people attending. Fire service training was 38 personnel for 290 hours. One of the other things that I thought was very interesting and unique, we had an opportunity to train with the police department. I took a couple pictures and attached them to the monthly report because I didn't think that every day you would see a whole line of police cars across the front of the fire station, and just a picture of them training on forcible entry with the fire department members. It was an opportunity for us to network and communicate and train with our public safety officials. And that concludes my report, pending any questions from the public. And I have just a quick 3-minute video, if you'll just indulge me, if you'll start the video. It's about e-bike fires. I've talked about the dangers of lithium batteries. It was an FDNY incident just within the past couple of weeks. You'll see how quick the battery goes. They actually have footage of it, and it's just a quick news report. It lasts about 3 minutes. Can we get some volume? Hopefully, so we can hear the chief and the commissioner. Not good. Not good. It's moving the mouse. This is all started by one e-bike that's plugged in the back of a supermarket. Like the chief said, they were there in a matter of minutes, and this is what it consumed. There's the e-bike back by the door plugged in. They actually had it on camera. You can see the explosive fire. When they interviewed the chief, he said they had 200 firefighters there in 5 minutes with water on the fire, and it had still, what he's saying right now, had still consumed that whole property. So I know I've repetitively said it, but this is serious business, and they're starting to just run rampant with battery fires. And we've even had a couple here in the township. There's the bike that started that whole fire right there. So if you're using them, please pay attention to them, be careful. Use the chargers that come with them, supervise them, don't plug them and walk away, know where they're plugged in and pay attention to them. All right, you can stop, but we don't have no video. You got the point. Thank you.
So I'm not trying to make this the Anthony show tonight, sorry.
Go ahead. That's fine.
So Chief, you've shown, I think, 2 videos so far. One was with a cell phone and one was with this e-bike. We all know that lithium ion batteries are everywhere, everything from cell phones to vehicles. So if this is the wave of the future and these are the things that are just going to be more and more permanent within our lives, what are the takeaways for safety tips? Because I think there will always be an exploding lithium ion battery, and there will always be thousands of other lithium ion batteries that don't explode. So how do we compartmentalize the fear and the safety with the reality of what these are? What are some tips?
Always use the charger that comes with whatever you're charging. Make sure it's UL approved and tested, and pay attention to what you're plugging in and where it is. Don't just, I've talked about cell phones, like how many people plug them in and throw them in their bed and go to sleep. Pay attention to what you're doing. That's the key takeaway, and use the chargers. Part of the problem is people are losing chargers, or they're having chargers become defective. Then they want to go on eBay or some secondary store and pay $3 for a charger that should be $75. And then it's not UL tested, it's not compliant, and then that's where the problem starts. So you really just have to, the moral of the story is pay attention. Just like kids around swimming pools that can't swim, you have a heightened state of alert. Just pay attention to what you're doing and use caution. But it's great technology as long as it's used properly, right?
Right.
And that's the key takeaway.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for
I have not.
Glassman? Anybody from the public? Comments? No? Okay. Thank you, Chief Glassman. Ken Davidson.
Thank you, Commissioner. You have the statistics for January 2023 in front of you. Again, no major anomalies. 2022 was a record year, and 2023 is out of the chute pretty hot as well. 349 calls for service in Uppermoreland Township in January 2023. 328 of them were medical, 13 motor vehicle collisions, and 8 fire. We transported 214 patients, and as usual, the lion's share, 198, went to Jefferson Health Hamilton Hospital, part of Jefferson North. 9 to Redeemer, 3 to Doylestown, 2 to St. Mary, Children's Hospital, Philadelphia, and Tower Health, Chestnut Hill. Again, another month with no EMS administration of naloxone, which is always good to see. Again, it doesn't mean that naloxone wasn't given at all, but with our first responder partners and the public administering it, the number of times that EMS is giving it remains down. February staffing was a little more optimistic this year, still below where we want to be. But as you see, there were less hours that we had to downgrade to BLS completely. And one piece of notable information, as most people saw, on March 7th, the governor rolled out some announcements of his planned budget and some of the proposals. There was a proposal in there to give a $2,500 tax credit to new police officers. I believe it actually is nurses and teachers, not firefighters and teachers. I apologize, because of the shortages in their respective fields. Unfortunately, EMTs and EMS did not appear to be included in that. We have reached out to our local state representatives and asked that they try to get us worked in as the process goes through, because as you've heard me report month after month, we remain in a staffing crisis and a shortage of providers. And if there's something the state can do to help us incentivize people coming into the field, we'd certainly like to be included in that. Not on my report, but next Tuesday, the 28th, is Second Alarm's 85th anniversary. We'll have some social media posts all week leading up to that, and some pretty cool old pictures and tidbits of information about the department. And as Chief Glassman mentioned, we are reviewing a cardiac arrest save that occurred last week at Miller's Ale House. But it certainly appears to be textbook. Bystanders performed CPR. The police department arrived quickly and defibrillated the patient. EMS and the fire department arrived and provided care. And as is our standard practice, we'll do some follow-up just to get the final discharge prognosis of the patient. But assuming everything is well, we'll probably be coming to you next month to do life-saving citations. That's my report. I'm happy to take any questions if you have them.
You say next Tuesday, the 28th, is your,
It's the 85th anniversary of Second Alarmers.
and you're having something somewhere?
We are not. We're doing some stuff on social media and things to recognize it. We're not really sure exactly what color or gem 85 is, so.
Well, congratulations on 85 years.
Thank you.
Bring back the canteen truck.
There are some pictures of the canteen. I actually found a picture of the truck that predated the canteen, so stay tuned this week. There's an older vehicle that I think they called the coffee wagon, so.
Okay, Mr. Scull, anything to add, question?
No. Pleasantly short meeting.
And, well, thank you, Ken.
Good evening. I'd just like to know where we are with the application for the, possibly the regional study. Was it DCED? Was going to,
I don't think we had any interest from the other jurisdictions to submit such an application.
okay.
Hatboro would be willing to do it, but other than that, none of the other jurisdictions were interested in
So I
doing
did
that.
reach out to some electeds from Lower Moreland, and the elected officials weren't certainly aware of it. So I'd like to keep the interest there, and I'll try to,
Do you want me to revisit? I can certainly reach out to the managers again and see. You're talking about for fire or for EMS?
for EMS,
Okay,
for,
Yeah.
a long-term evaluation. All right, thanks.
Commissioner, if I could just interject, it's not the DCED study, but the county project does seem to be making progress forward. They're down to selecting a vendor. There's, I think, a couple vendors. And the county study will probably have some parity for what you were talking about and doing. It's kind of 4 phases, but one of those phases, I think, will cover a lot of what that DCED study might have encompassed. So I know the DCED study was still nice to have, but it does seem like this project, and from what we can tell now, that's actually potentially what's being funded with that ARPA allocation that we weren't really sure about. So they are in the vendor selection phase for that.
Okay, that was the previous one we submitted for last year.
So if you recall, we submitted for it and it wasn't funded. They allocated funding at the county level, and we never really got a good answer what that was. Actually, this morning, somebody sent me a copy of the updated description, and it looks like that's intended to be used towards this countywide study. So it won't be as focused as what we would get if we just did a couple municipalities
Just
here.
overall analysis.
But it'll be overall analysis of EMS and the system in the county.
So I think that Lower Moreland and Brent Athen might be hesitant to participate because they actually reached an agreement, and I know that you don't really call on second alarm, on neither one of them, right?
And Brent Athen does.
We have mutual aid agreements with them and a long-standing good relationship, and then we've had some talks with those municipalities as well, but I think what you're looking at in the smaller region, you'll see a larger version of with the county study, if that.
And I think the message here is not to try to encourage somebody to participate in regionalization, but just to participate in the study, so we have, long-term plans and what it's actually going to cost. Thanks.
And it's nothing new. You've been pushing for this for years to try and get something, so we do know regionally what can be done. Any questions from the public for second alarmers? No? Okay. There's no old business. Any new business? Nothing?
No?
Okay, nothing new. Any visitor comments? Commissioner comments. The only thing I'm going to say is I love that the police department took the role of the traffic forum downstairs, and they're going to do it ongoing every month, and also the police academy, the Citizens Academy. This has been asked for years and years and years in the past, and we don't know where the breakdown was, whether it was old chiefs, old sergeants, who knows, but it's being done now. And I think this board, we really appreciate this because it's a good education piece for the public. So thanks for getting that started. With that, we'll be adjourned.